cinematography that I appreciate that I don't think got enough attention was the TV set.
Yes.
Where you get to play a guy that I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it because Lord knows more people need to see it. You're an executive with this company, and you were very much one of these. Well, she was. What was the line? It was. She comes off as a comedian, and this other girl, she comes off as an actress trying to do comedy.
Yeah.
Doing that kind of industry doublespeak stuff. And there's the journey that you get is the. Am I going to be a part of this monotonous sausage factory type atmosphere, or am I going to, do the right thing for myself, for my family? And that's the struggle at the core of that character. And I wonder, well, first of all, what it was like working so closely with Sigourney Weaver.
Amazing. I mean, it was a movie that I'd read, that I'd said, I'll never be in this movie because it's a comedy, it's really funny, they'll never see me as a part in this movie, so I kind of dismissed it.
Handsome executive, no one would ever cast you.
Well, he was, the movie was written as an American, and I was very fortunate that, Fantastic Four had just come out, so I had a bit of a presence in Hollywood, and I wanted to meet Jake Kasdan, and I got a meeting with him, and I convinced him to give me the part. And it was such a pleasure to work with Sigourney Weaver. I mean, she's just a powerhouse, really, of acting. Every performance is sort of a tour de force, really. It's really impressive. So to work closely with her, and then David Duchovny, who is an amazing actor as well, and obviously beloved in these circles and everything that he touches, really, as an actor. He's really wonderful. So I was really proud of myself that I got to play sort of a straight man in a sort of a bigger comedy, in a subtle comedy. So again, I'm upstairs sort of signing pictures, and I'm looking down, and I've got a real eclectic sort of mix of characters that I've played over the years, and I'm really proud of that fact that even though, yes, I'm renowned for, fantastical characters or characters in costume, I do have a wide range of characters in amongst that.
I've got one more for you, and I would love to see some questions from the audience after this. There's a woman in Hollywood who I love every opportunity to talk about. Her name's Andrea Romano. Those of you who saw Kevin Conroy's Q&A yesterday know this name because he talks about her all the time. She is the voice director for every DC Comics animated thing you've ever seen. Batman Brave and the Bold, Batman the Animated Series, Batman Mask of the Phantasm, Justice League, the list goes on and on and on. And this young gentleman here was in a couple of episodes of shows that were directed by Andrea, and I wonder what it was like doing voiceover acting as opposed to this, wearing fancy stockings and boots and stuff.
I think it's quite possibly the hardest thing that I've done, because those guys that create those characters, you wouldn't believe that you hear these voices, and you walk into the booth, and then you meet the guys behind the voices, and then you realize, wow, they're the real actors. I mean, it's really impressive. It's kind of blew me away. I mean, some of them sort of diminutive characters who would come out with these incredible booming voices or create these amazing characters. I had a lot of reverence for them because it's not something that comes naturally to me. I think, having been in front of the camera, you realize that you can, almost not get away with it, but you've got the costume, you've got the lights, you've got the background, the sets and everything is there laid on for you just to walk into. Whereas these guys are creating it all from scratch and using only their sort of imagination. So it was a real eye-opener, and I haven't done very many because there's so many good actors out there that could do this stuff better than me. So I was very proud to be involved in several of these.
Well, and that didn't stop you from doing some stuff with Seth MacFarlane on Family Guy and American Dad.
Yes, I've done the odd voice there as well. That's amazing experience, actually, to walk into the booth with Seth and have him play Brian opposite you, or Peter or whomever that he's. I've only done little tiny cameos, and some of them aren't even sort of credited, I don't think, in some of the shows, or they didn't make it to the show. But it's a real experience to walk in and to hear, Seth create all these characters in front of you. I mean, it's kind of a generous thing, really, that he He doesn't have to be there because you record every voice individually, but he came into the booth and we were bouncing off each other, you know, it was wild.
Well, I know that Andrea likes to do group reads as much as she can. Seth is different in that he likes to do individual recordings of that. When you did those couple of episodes with Andrea for the Batman and the Justice League thing,
Yeah.
was it everybody in the room like old radio theater?
It was like doing an old radio play live. Yeah, it was amazing. We all of us were there in the studio. All of us had our scripts in front of us and our own microphone, and we read it like a play. And we rehearsed it like a play, and then we took notes and just wrote a couple of notes down, and then we read it again and recorded it that time. And these guys are so good; they could just sight read brilliantly. It was only when it came to my part that she would stop. Can we just go again on that? Can we just go again on that one, please? That T wasn't quite pronounced, Ioan.
She's a stickler. She's.
Listen, she's a brilliant director. She's wonderful. I mean, she loves actors. She knows the process. She knows how hard it is for us, and she knows that we can achieve better. So she's most encouraging and tough directors that I've worked with.
All right, some questions for the humblest, wonderful actor in the world. Let's go back there first.
Hello.
I've recited Hornblower, and I'm a big British period drama fan, actually. But one of the things I really like about British period drama is the character actions. It seems like there's such a focus on writing, acting, and less on special effects and all this other dressing. And I was just wondering if, I know Robert Lindsay, really fine actor, and I was just wondering if you had a favorite that you enjoyed.
A favourite actor?
Yeah.
A favourite character actor? Well, I've been blessed. You mentioned Robert Lindsay there, who played the captain in Hornblower, my first captain. Now there's an actor who, who's won a Tony, many BAFTAs. He's acted on stage in the UK, and he's very famous in the UK for a very particular comedy show, and now another comedy show that he's done. He's just an all-rounder. He's sort of an old-fashioned actor who can turn his hand to anything, and for him to play that serious character in Hornblower was kind of new for us as an audience, because we'd always seen him in comedies and all these dramatic roles that he'd done on stage, but not necessarily on television. He's just brilliant. I got to say, I think the time that I had the most tingle down my spine was in Amazing Grace, when I got to work with Albert Finney. He's a legend. I mean, and what's incredible, he was playing older parts, older than himself, when he was in his 30s or late 20s. He was already playing characters, 10, 15 years older than him when he was in his 30s. He's just incredible. And what was brilliant about, we had him for 2 or 3 days on Amazing Grace. The first day he came, he had grown his hair long white hair and long white beard, because he was playing the older John Newton in the movie. And they put lenses in his eyes to make his eyes a little bit milky because he'd gone blind in the movie. And he manipulated all the beautiful makeup ladies and the assistants to fawn and do anything and everything for him for that day. He was, oh, darling, I can't do it. We had them falling at his feet for that whole day. And then, of course, he came back the following day. We shaved his hair off, we shaved the beard, he had his own eyes, and he looked about 30 years younger, and nobody went anywhere near him. So he was just wonderful. He just loved life, loved acting, loved what he was doing, and still loving what he was doing. I had a few moments, intimate moments with him chatting about, I was going to Havana in Cuba for that Christmas, for a Christmas holiday. And he said, "Ioan, you've got to go to this special little dance hall. There are girls there with legs up to here." And I was there goading them and saying, "Yo, you've got to come home and live with me." And I said, "Albert, I don't think I'll be doing any of that because I'll be there with my girlfriend. And he said, what do you mean? I was there with my wife!
I can tell you, as the first generation son of a Cuban, that accurately describes Havana. We'll go with Red Riding Hood here in the front.
You're one of my favorite characters in Fantastic Four and I was wondering if it was fun being stretchy.
The question is, was it fun being stretchy?
You know, it's a very good question because it's hard to break people's hearts when they meet you that you can't do these weird and wonderful things that these characters can do. So, if you can imagine shooting the movie, obviously, well, I hate to break it to you, I can't stretch or do anything, but it was probably a really very strange sort of acting. I'll have to stand up to do it for you. I felt very strange and weird because I acted most of my scenes like this. And I was pretending the whole time that I was throwing my arm out there to grab something, or that my arm was going underneath the door or something. So it was, I didn't feel like Mr. Fantastic very much during the shooting of the movie because...
More of Mr. Dismembered.
Yeah, Mr. Dismembered, Mr. Sort of, Mr. Awkward, or Mr. Silly, you know, from the Mr. Men sort of, that was... So, Mr. Tickle, you know, that's what my friends back home called me, Mr. Tickle, because of the ability to stretch or whatever. But what's amazing is when you see the movie put together, you know, all that hard work and all that imagination that you had to use to play the part all came together because they put it all into the computer and it all came out. So, yes, it's one of my little regrets that I can't do Mr. Fantastic.